All right, guys, welcome back. Welcome back. I was talking with a couple people, obviously, like I posted on my story advertising saying, hey guys, look, we're gonna be posting our first episode for a podcast, right? And I got a couple questions and things like that. And the first thing I want to bring up is someone said to me, hey, look, your first episode's got to be really good, things like that. We completely understand, but also Oleg and I had the chat and said, look, if we be perfectionists about this, we'd never put out a podcast when we think about that.
And also, given our busy schedules, actually no, at this point it's not even the busy schedules, just our resources or just what we have. I'm recording on my built-in computer webcam, which isn't the best quality. I bought a mic, which is super important because audio quality is just the only thing we really need for podcasts. But like even my webcam is just not the best. My editing software isn't up to date, so we can't just work with what we have. And eventually, eventually it's gonna get better. Eventually we're gonna understand this, whole podcast theme, and it's just gonna get better from there. So just wait and see.
Absolutely. Keep in mind there's like a 3,000 plus kilometer difference from us and a 3 hour time zone.
Mm.
So
Literally a couple of minutes before we try to record, my computer just auto restarted twice, so that can happen anytime. Knock on wood, but it's just we can't just work with what we have, and then obviously we're gonna invest. Obviously, we're gonna invest into the business. But at the moment, if we're not getting any capital, there's not much we can invest with, right? Just
absolutely.
reinvest into business from what we have. So
And we say this because we just want to inspire those. If you're looking to start a podcast, just do it. If you want to start a YouTube channel, just do it. Look, it's very easy to get bullied. I'm not going to lie. People will bully you for anything. All right. So don't be scared of bullying because, look, at the end of the day, look, someone's always got something to say about you.
yeah,
And
the amount of sarcastic comments I've received from like, "Oh, you're starting a podcast? Nice." You know what I mean?
yeah, like you can tell
But
it's ingenuine
yeah,
from these
yeah,
people,
yeah, yeah.
right?
Of course.
And I just want to quickly say there's two things. First of all, that's fueled by jealousy. And second of all, those people, I just want to say a really big thank you to because those are the people who keep me going. I, of course, I love saying, hey, congrats. I loved your podcast video. But really, it's the people who hate it who inspire me the most to keep going. And that might just be a me thing. But if I'm being honest, just seeing people who hate to see me win makes me feel good to and makes me want to win even more. You know what I mean? It's
Rub
just
it in
such
their
a
faces, prove them wrong, stuff like
not
that.
yeah, of course prove them wrong, not necessarily rub it in their face, but of course prove them wrong and show them what I'm capable of and how much I believe in myself, right? Because it's very easy to say no, you're not good enough, but that's letting them win, right? And that's another
Mm.
something that's going to tie into self-development. By the way, I know we're a little bit in, but our topic for this episode, even though we're building off the next one, is we're just going to let it go. You know what I mean? We're
Yeah,
just going to we're just going to talk and that's just a complete traditional podcast, right? Obviously we're going to keep it within our niche and what we're good at and what we like to talk about, but really everything in this is of value at the end of the day. Everything is here just to help you guys out, and just you listening in, whether you're, I don't know, whatever you might be doing right now, and maybe even doing your homework and you need a little something to listen to. I don't know, some people like to eat and listen to podcasts, lying in bed, things like that. I just want to let you know that our goal at the end of the day is to give you as much value as possible. Now, only being 17, 18 in a couple months, I should say. Whoop whoop. Um,
18 and a few more months after that. But hey,
yeah, for you, yeah.
18 sometime.
But really, the thing is, look, in our 17 years of life, look, we've come a long way, and I think a lot of people have, right? We said this a couple episodes back too, but look, both of us had quite interesting childhoods. And I'll say interesting because they were very eventful and filled with a lot of basically needing to step up and a little bit of growing up early, right? And I know for some people it's hard. Like, let's say I'm like an adult. I don't really want to get lectured by a 17-year-old and I'm like 35 and he's telling me how to live life, right? But another thing is like at the end of the day, you got to put the age aside and you got to understand that human beings are human beings. We all develop at different rates, right? There are going to be people listening to us who know more than us. You know what I mean?
And they're younger, right? So
Absolutely. Look, there are kids who are younger than us making more money, billionaires, trillionaires, I'm sure of it. And
there's
everyone's, I don't know about trillionaire. Well, one day, inflation. But you get the point. You get the gist of it, right? I think what really matters, another thing that I really want to say, and I'm so grateful to whoever's still watching, is Oleg and I are showing our true selves on this podcast. I can be myself. I have the free range to say whatever I want, and I have no one looking at me, no one behind my, you know, right behind me who's
Yeah,
got me by
yeah.
the neck telling me what to say, right? We can be
Mm.
ourselves and we can really express who we are because I feel like a lot of people, not even a lot of people, everyone has their own judgments of us, but they don't know who we truly are and our true characters. And that's why we've come to the podcast because I can tell you right now, Oleg and I are not wearing a mask on this podcast. We're going to be as real as possible, right? And by we say as real as possible, whatever YouTube allows or whatever platform this is on, because if I was super duper real, I'm not trying to get, swearing every single episode and get demonetized, etc. Right? Not saying that I swear all the time or Rolex swears all the time, but I will note this because I don't want to keep going on a rant. Sometimes you really need a swear to emphasize some things, because without the swear, people just it won't click in their head, right? So if you hear the occasional swear from us, just remember that's in good. We're trying to do you some good just by emphasizing a little bit. If you
Yeah.
hear a
It
little
also
shit.
makes you sound more serious,
Mhm.
and actually true to what you're trying to say,
Absolutely.
right?
But really, we need people to take that in that look, we're not here coming here saying, okay, I know everything. How about you come listen to me? Right. By no means is that what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is let people know, hey, we're in this field. We love what we do. We're still learning. And every single time we learn, that's a chance for us to share with you guys. Right.
Mhm.
That's the basic gist of it.
It's always
Obviously,
updated information from day one and onwards. As long as we learn, we just update the information onto the podcast. So that's just how it works.
exactly. And obviously, right now we're just starting. Right. But I just want to say, even for starting, I mean, like humbly said, compared to the average individual of our age, we know a lot more. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Right. And I just want to say, too, right, to be high performance, like you just can't be good at everything. All right. You have to accept that you're not going to be the best at something, and that's not your fault. Right. We're talking about the points. I can't put my points in everything. All right. I got to really hone in on what I'm good at, and that's what I'm going to focus on. So, look, I know people are out there like, okay, I want to be the best at school. I want to make super duper big amounts of money. I want to be the best at my sport. I want to be the best at my instrument. I want to be the best at whatever. I'm going to win this competition. Like, it's unrealistic, right? You're stretching yourself too thin. What you need to understand is look, as much as I can block out 2 hours and I can study as hard as I want, I'm not going to just get perfect A's because of that, right? There's different levels to it. You have to understand yourself and really be able to say, look, even if I give myself 2 hours on the subject, right? Time doesn't just mean, okay, I understand it, right? Sometimes you have to just be able to understand it yourself and say, okay, how do I rephrase it into words that I understand? But also to understand that, look, when I'm good at something, I can put less time into it, all right? Because it doesn't take me as much time to understand the material. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Whereas for things that you struggle with, you got to put more time into, right? Which a lot of people don't like to do. It's obvious, right? Not everyone wants to give 4 hours to math, right? Which 4 hours is excessive, right? But the truth is, you need that amount of time because it's going to take longer for you to understand the concepts. That's a big thing in time management. I feel like I'm going on a rant. Oleg, you want to say some stuff? Because we don't really have a. Hold on, I need to stop moving my computer. We have a whole bunch of. We don't have a topic, so you can go for whatever you want.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just free talk. But I guess I would say I agree with you when you say, I guess things that are just that they're just naturally good at, you put in less time in and you get the most results. But what about things that you're bad at, but you want to improve because you feel like it's going to help you in the future? What would you say about that? Just put in the work
I
because
want to
it's needed?
say, yeah, absolutely. Like
Yeah, okay.
in a sense, it's a no-brainer, but also you got to take one step back and realize if you're bad at something, but you're interested in it, that's good. If you're bad at something and it's good for you, but you're not interested, that's where we go back to self-development, the 5 areas, and that's where you need to change that mindset, right? Which
Okay.
I'm going to be honest, it's brutal. It's brutal. I think you can relate to this too. Your mindset for school, I feel like my mindset for school almost changes by day or by week, just based on experience, which is so bad.
Just yeah.
It's terrible. You let little things affect you. One bad encounter. I'm gonna go back to what I said. We're
I
gonna keep
I
building
hate
up the point.
school, and then if you get like an A, then school's the best stuff for that. I
Yeah.
understand that. I
Not
guess.
just that though, but let me just say something quickly. It's just every encounter with your teacher or your peers. You know what I mean? When you see your peers do good, but you don't do good, man, you get disencouraged badly, right? Because we compare ourselves to everyone all the time, right? And I think this is so important. Someone, I know there's someone out there that needs to hear this is okay, look, your peers can do better than you. That's okay. All right. It's okay that someone look, we got to be realistic here. There's always going to be someone who's better than you at something. All right. The best thing you can do though is instead of being jealous of them, just sit down, ask them a question, just be like, hey, I I love that you did good on that test. You know, do you have any pointers? Anywhere you can help me? All right. You gotta just take your ego. All right. Put it aside for a second. All right. Go up to them and just ask. And I know some people who get the best marks are complete jerks. All right. Like sometimes you can't even talk to these people. I understand that, right? Every circumstance is different. But for the majority, right? Hopefully, there are some humble people out there that you can go up and you can ask. If not, you can ask your teacher. And I know there's a whole bunch of terrible teachers out there too. We know that too. But really, you get the concept of put your ego to the side and instead of being jealous of that person or instead of having a grudge against your teacher, all right? Because I did this with my English teacher. I really not enjoying English for the amount of homework I'm getting, right? And I didn't get a good mark on some of my previous stuff. I said, okay, you know what? I want, I just want the best for myself at the end of the day, not in a selfish way, but it's true. You want the best for yourself. How am I going to get a good mark in this class? I got to go talk with the teacher. I got to go talk with the student who's doing good. Right. It, it's got to be done. It's got to be done. It's tough, but it's got to be done. Right. I think I'm sure you can relate to this too, of just your mindset going on and off in school for sure.
Oh, I mean, school. Yeah, I've always listen. I've talked about this before, and for those that know, for those that don't know, back in grade nine, I wanted to be a doctor, right? And I want to be a doctor mostly because of the good pay, making my parents proud, blah blah blah. But when I found out self-development and just like self-improvement, the whole realm of it, business, finance, everything, my whole mindset in school just changed. I kind of just second guess everything and thought about, man, is this really worth it? Is this really what I'm trying to get to and stuff? But at the same time, it's like I feel like the mental change from, just I guess quote unquote being the average kid to trying to self-improve or trying to become that top 1% of, people, teenagers, whatever. I wouldn't say like I wouldn't say I always had an average mindset, or like just like an average person mindset. So it wasn't like a huge change for me to develop that because I guess like some parts of my life that I had not knowing before self-improvement, I implemented those already knowing into self-improvement, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So I guess you could also relate in a way that you could tell that you kind of been a bit different from the others in a good way. So that mentality change wasn't like a huge surprise to you when you found out self-development. You know what I'm trying to say? Sort of.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, almost in a sense that happens to me every day, right? I see how much different I think than my peers, and it's crazy, right? Everyone's so fixated on getting into a good school. And for me, I'm going to be honest, I don't value it as much, right? That's why my grades reflect that, which is sad, but also I need to take into account. Look, I got so many contradictions in my life. I'll put it that way. I got my grandma and my mom telling me to go to school. I got myself. I got you showing me the other side, right? I got other people around me, and I got to make this decision for myself at the end of the day, right? And I got to put it this way. I've seen the amount of work stress and things like that, and it's really like, yes, it's a lot of work to go into these top schools. I need to take that into account. As much as I can say, oh yeah, I'm ready for the challenge. It's a lot of damn work, man. You got no time to do anything else but school, right? And for me, who's got so many passion projects, it's like impossible. That's not something that's for me. So
Yeah.
me going to all these top schools, right? Of course I apply, right? But in the realistics of it, do I really want to go to these schools? No, of course I felt pressured, right? I felt pressured. I needed to apply or else I'm not good enough, right? Just going to university in general, right? It's almost like I got this little thing in my ear, right? This thing being my mom and my grandma saying, "Hey, Why are you not going to go to university, huh? What happens if you fail, right? You're not educated. What do you know, right? What do you know?
Not even just your mom and grandma, just all of society in general,
Of
teachers,
course, of
basically,
course,
basically almost everybody.
of course, because that's the norm, right? I'm
That's
going
the
to break
norm,
it
yeah.
down. I'm going to break it down right now because Oleg and I have this vision, and other people, I mean, they haven't stumbled across this yet. All right. Look at how society works, right? What percentage of people are actually working jobs? I mean, the majority, right?
Majority.
CEOs and business owners are a very small portion, right? And we had this huge boom of entrepreneurship, right? I would say around COVID, that everyone was like, okay, you know what? I don't want to work a 9 to 5. I want to be rich. I want to be successful, things like that, right? So a lot of people get into entrepreneurship. A lot of people get into entrepreneurship for the wrong reasons, right? Yes, money is a motivating factor, but we can see how money changes people. You can see all the negative effects that people get. They get greedy, they don't treat people properly. And look, if someone's friends with you, they're only friends with you to make money, for your money, etc. Right? If you have no money, people aren't going to be friends with you, right? That's a huge, huge theme that I see at my school, which is absolutely stupid. I mean, like right now, throw that damn thing at the door because you're absolutely stupid for thinking that. Sorry, but that's my opinion. All right. Like, I get into entrepreneurship because I said, look, not that working a job is bad because I don't mind working a job, but I have so many good ideas. I want to put that into effect. I love the idea of being able to manage a business, having my vision, right? And in a sense, working for myself or bringing on people to help me who have the same vision, right? Because at the end of the day, a business is not just you, a business is everyone who works for the company, right? And obviously money's a part of it, right? You do if your business is successful, obviously you get more money, right? But also, I think people forget that business is not just like a company. Business can also be you yourself. I shouldn't say just a company. Well, business is not you with a whole bunch of employees. Business can also just be you. You're a sole proprietor, right? Getting business term fancy right now, man. You see that? Sole proprietor. It's probably one of the little things I've learned. And no, I actually learned it outside of school before I learned it at school. It took me like until grade 12 to learn sole proprietor.
There you go.
I
That
mean,
just
no,
proves that you got to invest into your own knowledge. You got to
yeah. Well, to be
self-educate
fair,
yourself.
no. To be fair, I learned I think grade 10, but by then I already knew.
No.
I already knew about it before I learned it in school. But it's really only being talked about, like really talked about right now for me in school. But I think the big thing is I saw Oleg and I both will say this. We saw the flaws in the system that just didn't add up. I said, wait, okay, so I'm gonna go spend money and get in debt for this degree, right? Because mind you, the majority of us don't really have money to go to post-secondary education, or we have very little money. I will say this right now. I'm blessed by my mother because I have money, right? My mom works a government job. They double the money that she puts in, right? So of course I'm blessed. I know a whole bunch of
Yeah.
people at my school who've
Yeah,
got
honestly though,
both things.
yeah, it's true because like I guess the percentage of people that have, that have I guess their parents to pay for their whole tuition, the whole 4 years or whatever they want is just very little. So obviously you're gonna have, you're gonna have money that your parents saved up from the RESP, Registered Education Savings Plan, and stuff like that. You got some money from the government stuff, but eventually it's gonna pile up eventually, So not many people can afford to have their parents pay for the whole tuition. They gotta use that money themselves and get into debt. So, but the ones that do get full tuition from their parents, you guys just consider yourself very lucky. And if it's truly best for you, don't consider this just like a waste of money. Maybe consider it as a waste of time. If there's just better things you could do with your time. And if not, then by all means, just go take advantage of the given money, honestly. Right.
Absolutely. I
So,
mean, it's not a bad thing to have your parents pay for something, right? At the end of the day, it's not bad, right? Just understand that you're given this opportunity that a lot of people don't, right? And be grateful for that. But also consider that, look, you gotta pay housing, you gotta pay food, you gotta pay your phone bill, your things like that, right? Those are so many expenses you have to pay. And
mm.
the hopes is
And
okay.
eventually,
Yeah,
yeah, sorry, but eventually they charge you interest on that money as well that you get debt. So for every time you don't pay, interest, interest, interest.
yeah, look at us being smart with
Right.
finances, man.
Like,
That's
bro,
crazy.
already come on.
I think a lot of people don't really think about this. Like, you really have to think about the financial side of things. I hear so many people say at my school, "Oh, I hate business. I hate business. I hate business." Oh my goodness, man. I need to take a step back. obviously my opinion's biased, but the whole world is business.
Yeah.
Our whole economy is business. It's business related, right?
Every sector and every region of work has some sort of business element in it.
That's
So
literally why
whatever you
we
want to
have
do, yeah, yeah,
that's
exactly,
why we
man.
have economics. We have economics to study this stuff, right? And I hate to say it, but like those people who neglect this stuff, you're going to have a very tough time trying to understand the world, right? Of course, like I want to put it this way. Think about this. Why do social problems, right? Even though it's the best for the world, right? And we should be putting money into like let's say um climate change, right? That's a big one, right? And like
Climate change, yeah.
why do you guys keep pumping out gas? You're hurting the environment. Well, think about the economy. If we just stop pumping gas, which is a huge part of our economy, that's how we get our GDP to, jobs, etc., for trade and things like that. Look, yeah, I'd love to just stop, but guess what? All of us, many of us are going to go broke, unemployed, right? We're not going to be able to drive our cars, things like that. So hey, that's one big thing of a wake up call. Say, yeah, it's not like climate change doesn't exist. Look, we're young business minded people, right? We understand that climate change is like that, but also it's like, hold on, take a step back. Look, that's what we want the best for everyone, right? I'm thinking about Green Party right now too. I'm going to add that in. Obviously, like we're going to be talking about Canadian things, right? Even if we have some people who are outside of Canada. Green Party. So let me just give some context for those who don't know. Green Party is just one of the parties you can get elected for, you know, be to run an office. And then obviously, like
Mm,
whoever's running can be a prime minister.
yeah. To
But
be
Green
honest,
Party. Wait,
to
let me
be
finish.
honest, okay, sorry.
Let me finish. Let me finish because it's important. All right. Green Party is more on the left, if you know politics. All right. More on the left. So they're more about social stuff like that. And one of their policies, right? I just want to quick flex. I got 100 in civics. All right. So I'm talking from what I learned in civics class. Shout out. Well, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the teacher's name, but shout out my civics teacher. If you're listening, you know who you are. All right. I love that class. But really, these are like essential skills I learned. Anyways, Green Party was like, okay, we should make tuition for all the students free, right? This relates to school. And we got to take into account, okay, that's amazing. I'd love for everyone to go get educated, right? But guess what happens? How do we get the funding for these people to go? You think the government's going to pay? Okay, the government's going to pay, but who's going to pay the government? Us. Us. We're all going to get taxed, right? And I think if there's one thing I really, as a business-minded person, I hate is income tax, right? Like you work so hard for your money, right? And I go online and I go to the income tax calculator, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, like what, 30, 40% of my paycheck is gone?
Yeah, for like think about it. I'm pretty sure if someone gets $1 million a year, about what 46 or even more percent of it
Oh
just
no,
goes
it's
away.
more.
Income
It
tax. What is it?
it
It's
depends
more?
on
It's
the
over
it depends
half?
on the province, but in BC, you take home less than you'd pay in tax.
Yeah, so you get taxed more half of your money. Like how crazy
Yep.
is that? And also going back, not gonna lie, Draco, I think I'm just gonna keep all the politics over to you because I don't know much about politics to be honest. I don't pay attention to that kind of sort of thing. So you kind of just take over the politics
All right. You need to
for the past
educate
from now
yourself a
on.
little bit. All right. You need to educate
Yeah,
yourself a little bit.
probably.
I think
I
everyone needs to.
definitely, yeah, I guess definitely I gotta be at least I gotta pay attention, and be perspicacious of things. Even if it doesn't concern me,
Here.
it may just help me out. But
Let me
I
give you a
guess
mindset
politics is
shift. All
oof.
right. Let me give you a mindset shift. And this goes for everyone. All right. Okay. Some people don't like politics because look, it's very heated, right? It's very heated. And I'm not gonna say I'm for this party or that party, right? That's not the point of this. The point is to understand what every party stands for. Because at the end of the day, that when you vote, right, or whoever's in office is representing, first of all, you as a country. All right, this is your country. This is your country, the place that you live in, how they're going to run your country, what policies, how, the big thing is taxes, right? Where your money goes. Why are they taking money from you and where is it going? Is it going to benefit you or not? That's why I feel like politics is important, but also like your rights as a human being, right? Like people in power can revoke laws, they can put in new laws, right? We saw things like I don't want to get too political, right? But things about speech, right? Different things, and then obviously like a couple things about housing too, right? Housing is so unaffordable, right? Like our generation cannot afford housing at all, right? It's a joke. While the rich man who owns the property charges a shit ton for rent. We have to pay that, right? And what does this guy do? Takes his money, goes home happy, drives his Bentley. right? That's what we talk about in economics, right? Shout out my economics teacher too, because these are, I'm going to shout out some of the teachers that I actually learned, right? Because I got to attribute my knowledge to these people who take the time to answer my questions, right? I really value that. But really, that's why politics and economics are so important, in my opinion, right? Something my grandma stresses as well. Um, Look, not like I need to get a degree in this stuff, all right? By no means am I trying to go and get a degree, although it is interesting, but it's background knowledge that's going to help me. Also, I know I know I cut you off earlier. Do you remember what you're going to say or no? If not, I'm going to
No,
keep going until you.
no, they're just about how all you deal with a lot of politics. I'm not sure. I'm not really
Okay.
sure about politics, just in general.
Okay.
Like, I hear stuff on the news. I hear stuff from, media sources, but are those really reliable? You know, like realistically, are they really
I'll put it
reliable?
this way. I'll put it this way.
The media lies
CBC.
a lot.
I'll put it this way. CBC, Canadian Broadcasting Channel, or I think that's what it's called, if I'm not wrong. Well, that's government funded, right? The Liberal Party gives them. Oh, I don't even know the number. Whether I think it's $1 billion, unless I'm tripping. It's like I believe it's $1 billion. Right? You're gonna have to stat check me afterwards. But $1 billion. Are you kidding me? And this is supposed to be like the source that Canadians get their information from. I don't know me personally, but I don't want to get too political. But this goes back to self development is really to filter out what you're reading, right? What you consume. Why do you think there's so many radical left and right people that you hear on the news all the time in the states, right? It's because of the media that they consume, right? You get fed lies and you believe it because people are so gullible, right? It's, I mean, that's a principle that completely applies to us, right? I mean, you you hear things from your teachers and you're supposed to believe it, but you need to, yeah, your parents as well too. This is one of our topics that we'll be talking later on, as well as having a mind of your own because you get fed with all this stuff, right? Whether it's good or bad stuff, I don't want to say, right? That's up to you to filter through. But really, you get most of it is a lot of shit, right? You're getting fed all of this and you're just believing it, right? Have a
Yeah,
mind of your
honestly,
own.
so yeah, how I think about it is just, obviously people can say what you want. People can say what they want, but truly, I guess listen to those that truly have your best interest at heart, you know? So whoever you truly believe is the person you want to become as your future self is definitely important. So whether it be any like any role models you have, parents in general. So really listen to those that truly have your best interest at heart, evaluate and just, kind of think. Just don't blindlessly comply. Just think about what you're hearing and what's going on, and kind of just choose from there. You know?
Of course, I know because I've been practicing this for my whole life.
Yeah.
And I can tell you it's a very valuable skill because if I listened to what I was told, I would probably be a slave away at school. I would have no social life. I would I would just do my work and I wouldn't hang out with anyone who didn't think just like me. And I would only associate myself with people who think like me because anyone who didn't think like me was wrong. I think that's, I mean, no offense, right, to my family members, but that's kind of what I've been fed. You know what I mean? Whether it's intentional or not, right? That's up for debate. But I think another thing I need to say is, although, of course, we know about the average of the five people you spend most time with, right? That one. But also, it's really important to surround yourself, not necessarily the five people you spend the most time with, but have conversations, intellectual conversations with people who think differently than you, to have a different view on life, right? If Oleg and I didn't talk about our views on school and how similar and different they are, right? Oleg's opinion wouldn't have changed, my opinion wouldn't have changed, right? And this doesn't just have to be a school, this goes for everything, right? I mean, literally everything. Whatever you're passionate about, have a chat with someone else and get to know why they think the other way, not just what they think, but why do they think like that? Sometimes it could just be them talking, their parents talking for them. You know what I mean? That's what I see at school all the time. A lot about the studies. It also has to go with, like culture as well. Asian culture, there's such a strong emphasis on education. I completely understand, right? My family's Asian, so I can speak for that, right? But really, I think at the end of the day, out of all the things we've covered too, one of the big key takeaways is have a mind of your own. Have a mind of your own. That's so important because at the end of the day, if you just become a clone of your parents, right? I mean, are you even living life?
Damn, such disrespect to the parents. But in a way, yeah. I mean, yes, I agree. I agree. Because like I doubt, or at least I know, I can't speak for everyone, but most of their parents, they're probably not financially free. You know, they probably can't say what they want. They probably depend on their job to pay their bills, right? So it's just kind of like you kind of gotta have that mindset switch, sort of. It applies whether just different generations, different interests, but I guess you don't necessarily want to be unless you want to live, but most people don't want to be living the life their parents live. They want it to be better in a way. And I guess that's what parenthood really is. You're trying to raise your kid to be the better version of you in a way. So, you know, it kind of goes both ways like that.
But I feel like whatever your parents did is going to be different from what you do now because of the generation difference.
Yeah, because in
But
how they grew up and
mhm.
everything,
But
and
also
just
it's
the influence around them.
as a parent, I feel like it's very easy to say, uh, okay, go do this, go do that, go do this, go do that, right? Because they're not the ones actually doing the work. You're the one who has to sit down and go do the work, right? It's much easier to just tell someone to do the work than to actually do the work themselves. That's why people like us, whenever you're in a group work, you try, not everyone, right? But most of us try to not do as much work as someone else. Oh, you take this. I'll do the easiest part. I'll do the easiest part. I'll do the easiest part. Because your brain's always looking for the easy way out, right? So I feel like parents kind of do the same and say, okay, my son's going to be super successful because he's going to go have this education. He's going to go do this and that, right? And my job is just, okay, I'm just going to pay for it, right? I mean, at face value, yeah, that seems really simple, but like, I mean, if your kid's not hungry to do it, the kid's not going to do it good, right? And a lot of parents immediately, the kid's out the womb, and the parents going, okay, go be a doctor, right? Because they make the most. I mean, if the kid doesn't want to be a damn doctor, like think about this. If my doctor was someone who grew up and got forced into being a doctor from their parents, I mean, is he really a good doctor, or is he just like, in quotation marks, qualified, right? He's not passionate about his work. He's just qualified.
I
So
definitely wouldn't want him to do any checkups on me. So that's what I'm gonna say.
I mean,
Especially if it's a male doctor. But anyways,
and that goes to the entertaining part. We'll throw in a little joke here and there. But it's so true though. It really is so true. Like I know some people say like, look, you can't always be passionate about what you do for work. Okay, that's understandable, but that's temporary work. I would say your real long-term job should be something that you're passionate about. Because I feel like you can make money doing anything. Like basically anything. You can basically make money doing anything, I would say, for the most part. As long as you have some idea of how to bring in revenue. You know what I mean? I mean, look, comedians get paid. All right, I'm just gonna say that right now. Comedians get paid, and if I can go up there and crack jokes to an audience and get paid for that, I mean, come on, no knock to comedians, but like in a sense, that's actually inspirational. Like you can take something that people look down upon so much, and I'm sure there's a whole bunch of rich comedians making way damn more than everyone else. All right, I know
oh
that's
yeah, of course.
I know for a fact. I know like not just comedians. I mean anything. There are a whole bunch of like musicians, for example. A lot of people look
Yeah.
down on musicians because there's not a lot of money there. Oh, I'm telling you right now, if you really learn how, like, if you learn the business side of it and how to market yourself, you can get your time. You can get jobs at big gigs. You
Yeah,
can go
because like
performing.
think about it. All the famous comedians, they obviously have most of them have Netflix specials. So Netflix pays them, right? They host big events, big shows, tickets, stuff like that. So I mean, man, it's all business. Like we said, business applies everywhere. In every region of work, but business is everywhere.
Look, I'm gonna
So
put
you
it
gotta
this
have some
way.
sort of understanding.
If you heard the story of Kevin Hart, I was watching. Like Kevin Hart didn't do good on his SAT, went to community college. The guy's a comedian. The guy's first of all in good shape. Bro's got a good life. Actor, right? Uh, and in addition, the dude's on like he had episodes on Shark Tank, man. Are you kidding me? Shark Tank. Like he's business minded. The guy didn't do good on his SAT. He didn't do good on community college, but he flipped it around. Look, of course, life was tough, and we don't know how much work this guy's put in, right? But all I can say is, look, he took nothing, and made something out of it. And that's just one of like a million stories. Go read David Goggins' book right now. I'm not kidding you. Go buy that thing. Can't hurt me. Because listening to his story of how hard his childhood was. His childhood was tough, tough. Like the guy went through shit after shit after shit and just never got a break. And look at the man now. Oh my gosh. Beast. A beast. I'm absolutely a beast. Like the dude can just do whatever the hell he wants because he's trained his mind to do it. And that's from countless hours. So to wrap things up, hopefully that was inspirational. But remember a couple things. Have a mind of your own. Keep pushing and like, comment, subscribe, and be sure to share this with a friend. You guys got it at the end. You really thought I was gonna give you a high performance tip there. Oh, that's funny.
Again, yep. You know, but
Just
seriously, it helped us out a lot.
absolutely. We appreciate your support. We appreciate you spending the time being with us. Thank you very much and see you in the next episode.
Have a good one.